Welcome to the Doghouse. Have a listen as we take a look at life, love, and art in all its forms. Here's your host, the Rock Dog, Andrew Davis.
I was lucky in my radio career that I got to interview a lot of people, most of the bands on the islands, but there was some big names, including John Anderson of Yes and Greg Kihn of the Greg Kihn Band. Back in 2011, he released Kihnplete. It was a box set, and I had the chance to talk to him. He called me all the way from San Francisco.
Yeah, hi, Greg Kihn here.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Is this Andrew?
This is.
Hey, Andrew, sorry I'm late, buddy. I got a little backed up there.
Oh, no worries. Not a problem at all.
Where are you, Andrew?
I'm in Courtenay, BC. We're on...
BC? God, I love it up there.
Yes, it's gorgeous up here.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, you're a lucky guy. What's the weather like right about now?
Right now it's actually raining, a little bit windy, about 4 degrees.
Well, that's...
4 Celsius.
That's rustic.
What's that?
Rustic.
We like it.
All right, so anytime you're ready, we can do this thing.
All right. Now, is the box set out? Is it released?
Yeah, it's available right now as a digital download. You can get it wherever digital music is sold, like iTunes and gregkihn.com and any other place where you can buy music. And, you know, we will probably eventually get around to putting out an actual plastic CD boxed set. But as for now, it's just available as a digital download.
Yeah, Kihnplete is the name of the box set. A lot of people, of course, know you from 2 of your singles, Jeopardy and the Breakup Song. But you actually...
most people, I think, equate the Greg Kihn Band with those 2 songs.
Yep.
But really, there's a ton of music out there that we made something like 18 albums. And most people are only aware of 2 or 3 of them. So, for instance, there was a whole period of time after Berserkly, which is what we cover in the Kihnplete box set. It's the complete post Berserkly work of the Greg Kihn Band. Because at that point, after Jeopardy, that was a #1 record. We signed a big record deal with EMI, and Joe Satriani joined the band. We were all upgrading. You know what I mean? We were all getting haircuts and. At that point in time, we went in the studio. We did a couple of albums worth of material, which I didn't even think about till we went to check to see what was in the can for this project, and I was blown out by how much great music we had in the can. We had studio stuff with Joe Satriani. We had live stuff with Joe. We had stuff with my son on lead guitar. We had old stuff. We had new stuff. And I thought, we should put this all out. So we did.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't realize that Joe Satriani actually played for you for a couple of years. What's it like to work?
I kind of lost track of Joe after he left my band. Is he okay? What's he been up to?
I think he's doing all right. Hooked up with a couple of guys who, I think he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, I just saw Joe like a couple of weeks ago at the B.R. Cohen Winery. They had a big gig up in the wine country here, and I saw him. There was a charity event. The Doobie Brothers were playing. The Greg Kihn Band played, and Joe Satriani shows up with Sammy Hagar, and they jam with the Doobie Brothers.
Nice.
It was a trip. So Rye, my son Rye, who's currently the lead guitarist in the Greg Kihn Band, is a former student of Satriani. In fact, when Rye was like 13, he was like his first guitar teacher. So, and Rye's, of course, going on to fame and glory as a guitar player. But now whenever he sees Joe, I can always tell when Joe's around because Rye plays 10 times better. Like he's shredding his ass off at the gig, and I looked over, and why is this guy going nuts? And then I see, because Satriani's standing right over there. It's like, time to impress the master.
Right. The student is trying to pass the master, so to speak.
Right. And seeing Sammy was always a trip. I mean, I love that guy. I've known him for 20 years. He comes, I'm trying to brag, Sammy comes over to me. We're hugging and, we're exchanging pleasantries. And I'm bragging. I'm going, hey, Sammy, guess what? I'm a grandfather now. He goes, oh, that's nothing, man. I'm a grandfather 3 times over. As a matter of fact, my kids are younger than my grandkids. And I said, wow, that is really advanced. That's advanced something or other. He's not shooting blanks, apparently.
Apparently not. That tequila's actually keeping him viral, I guess. Vibrant and ready to go. Now, I've heard...
I don't know what he's taking, but we should get some.
Yes. Now, I heard Sammy Hagar, he actually, of course, he worked with another great guitarist by the name of Eddie Van Halen. But Sammy recently said that Satriani is, without a doubt, the best guitarist he's ever worked with.
Yeah.
Agree?
Absolutely. I agree 100%. You know, because I knew Joe in the beginning when he was with the Squares, long before his solo career, long before he joined our band. In fact, we asked Joe to join our band back in like 1980, and he turned us down because he was in his own group, the Squares, and they were getting ready to make a record. And at the time, and then later, a couple of years, 5 or 6 years later, I asked him again, and he said, yeah, at that point. But you're right, he is one of the best of all time. I've seen him grow, from like a small sapling into a giant sequoia tree.
Yeah, I think when you bring up guitarists, you bring up guys like Clapton, Hendrix, Van Halen, and you're definitely going to throw Satriani in there as well.
Isn't that great? And it's a privilege to have the guy in the band. And, of course, my son is like a junior Satch now, so the tradition continues. But that's the beauty of the Kihnplete box set, because all that material is now available. Some of it hasn't seen the light of day for decades, and we got Satriani in the studio and live. You haven't lived until you've heard Satriani live with the Greg Kihn Band playing stuff like the Breakup Song. I mean, it's a whole nother reality.
Wow, I'm looking forward to hearing it. Definitely. I'm a huge Satriani fan. Huge.
Yeah, well, I think you'll really enjoy this stuff because we were all very creative in those days, and we were smoking a lot of weed.
Speaking of, sorry,
I was going to say we were trying all kinds of stuff.
But speaking of creative, you also are a book writer. You're an author. That was a little bit of surprise when I read that.
I can't believe it. It's kind of hard to believe. Yeah, I've always been a writer, and it wasn't until the 90s where I started really writing seriously, and I published a bunch of novels, and I always have something brewing in the pot right now.
And you're going to release.
As a matter of fact, we were talking about iTunes a few minutes ago and how the new album Kihnplete is available on iTunes. One of my novels, Mojo Hand, was just released as an ebook on iTunes, so you can download it like right onto your Kindle or your Nook or whatever, or your computer, right from iTunes, which blows my mind. There's no paper involved.
It's amazing, isn't it? Technology is it absolutely changed the world.
Yeah, when they get to a device where I can think the book and it just prints itself, that's when I'll pay attention. Something that you have to sit down and actually write it, which takes some time.
Yes, hook it up to your brain and it just types it all out for you.
Yeah, and Mojo Hand is a really fun novel, and that's available now on iTunes. That's about a guy who's killing off all the old blues men, and it turns out that it's really an interesting story because it involves zombies and a mojo hand.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
What about this TV show? I'm hearing rumors about you're working on a screenplay for a show. You're trying to sell it to HBO, or?
Yeah, well, we got a bunch of nibbles right now. We're trying to close in on a deal. It's called 45 RPM, and it's a pilot for a TV series that I created. And I wrote the pilot plus the first 4 episodes, and it's about the mafia in the music business in the 80s. Now, if anybody knows the 80s, it's me, because that was my decade. And I saw a lot of crazy stuff going down. Of course, in the 80s, there was a lot of payola and, hookers and blow and stuff like that. And it all happened behind the scenes. But my 45 RPM is really interesting because it's kind of like The Sopranos with guitars.
Oh, sounds cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Was that really
gunplay, hot babes, and rock and roll? You can't beat that combination.
No. Was that really prevalent back in the 80s? Was organized crime involved?
It just went underground because what the mafia was doing in the 50s and 60s, which was controlling the jukeboxes and all that kind of stuff, by the time we got to the 80s, it was much more sophisticated. It was all about plugging records, independent promotion, paying people off, graft and corruption, and of course the entire cutout scandal with MCA and the mafia. And it was a whole. They found ways to milk money out of the music business that we didn't know existed, but it was all underground. A lot of people were not aware that the mafia was so involved, and they were very involved.
That sounds interesting. That sounds like a show I'd definitely watch.
Yeah, I was banking on that.
So a lot of people, of course, go, Greg Kihn, I wonder what he's up to these days. You apparently have been doing what I do. You're a morning man at a classic rock and roll station.
Yep, best job in the world except for the hours.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Actually, I got an afternoon drive, so I got the sweetest shift.
Oh, that's you afternoon guys get to sleep late, stay up late. You're spoiled.
We're spoiled. Afternoon drive guys are spoiled.
I get up at 3:45 every morning. That's when I used to go to bed.
Oh, 16 years you've been doing this.
It's hard to believe, isn't it, that a man like me, a man of, with the attention span of 20, 30 seconds, could do this for 13 or 14 years. It just blows my mind.
Do you play a lot of your records, or do you just...
Oh, yeah. Hey, I play my stuff whenever I possibly can.
Yeah.
I need the mailbox money, man. I get it back from ASCAP. So actually, when I play a Greg Kihn song, think about this. I'm getting paid to play it as a DJ. I'm getting paid as an artist. And I'm getting paid as the writer and publisher of the song. So it's a four-way split. It's beautiful. I get money 4 different ways when I play a Greg Kihn song.
That's awesome. I'll play one for you, too. We'll give you some up here as well.
There you go. There you go.
Now, I am a huge fan of a guy by the name of Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, yeah.
And his version of I Lost on Jeopardy is fantastic. Now, I've heard in the past that Al actually approaches the people with his ideas beforehand. Did he do that with you?
Yes, he did. And I was very flattered that he did it because, number one, if they do a parody of you, it means that you're well known enough to be made fun of, which is great. It's very flattering. But at the same time, he's doing this whole version of the song that's just hilarious, and I get half the money. And to this day, I still get mailbox money from Weird Al. God bless his heart.
Where can people get, of course, your books and the Kihnplete box set?
I would say the good place to start is gregkihn.com. We will direct you hither and yon. Of course, you can get it wherever digital music is sold, including iTunes. And I say again that my novel Mojo Hand just released on iTunes as an ebook, and that's out there. I got one more favor to ask of you.
Absolutely.
Okay, my son Rye is in a contest. Roger Taylor from Queen is putting together the ultimate Queen tribute band.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yep, and he's got a website called queenextravaganza.com. Now, my son Rye, who is a great guitar player, just on a whim, he entered the contest. Out of thousands of guitar players, he's down to the final 23.
Wow.
So he made the cut, and if you could go and vote for him at queenextravaganza.com, just go over to the listen and vote, and go look for Rye Kihn, under lead guitarist.
Yep.
Vote for that guy. I will send you a nice hot dog in the mail.
Sounds good to me. Definitely I'll do it, and I'll get all our listeners to do it as well.
Yeah, because, I figure all these big-haired dudes and these L.A. guys, Rye's just got plain old talent, and I think that's what wins in the end.
Well, like father, like son, then.
Well, I hope so. And maybe he'll take over the family business one of these days.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks a lot, Greg. I appreciate you talking to us.
Okay, thanks again. I'll talk to you soon.
You bet. Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
All righty, bye-bye.
You've been listening to The Doghouse with Andrew Davis.